This is NHTV2, North Haven Government Television, a service of North Haven Community Television. The following program is brought to you through the support of the Town of North Haven.
Good evening. We're going to reconvene the regular meeting of the Board of Police Commissioners for the month of May 2019. I'm Chairman Dave Mons. To my left is Vice Chairman Larry Lazaroff. To my far left is our Secretary Robin Wilson. To my right is Commissioner Mark Calafiore, and to my far right is Commissioner Alden Mead. So the first item on the agenda is approval of the minutes from the April 23rd, 2019 meeting, both regular and executive sessions. May I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Second item on the agenda is approval of the monthly reports for April 2019.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Madam Secretary, any correspondence?
We do. We have 3 pieces of correspondence. The first one is from the South Central Criminal Justice Administration, and it's thanking the chief and the department for allowing Lieutenant Christopher Thorpe to serve as a panelist at the recently held oral board examination for the position of sergeant. The second one is this adorable, I guess, Officer Cantelli and Canine Coda visited North Haven Child Development Center preschool, and they sent this, I don't know where the camera could pick it up, but a lovely thank you from everybody in the class. And this is not terribly long, but it's kind of a neat letter to the chief and the North Haven PD. These people moved to North Haven in 1980 after her husband did research about the school system and police department because he was a former policeman. And they felt that North Haven had an excellent department. And here it is in 2019, and we feel the same way and want to thank you all for all you do.
Thank you very much. Next on the agenda is the chairman's report. I have a couple items for executive session, only one for open session. Since our last meeting, one of our officers, Val Quiroga, tendered his letter of resignation, retirement after 14 years of service to the town due to injuries sustained in connection with the explosion on Quinnipiac Avenue back in May of 2018. Val was a dedicated and valuable member of the department. We thank him very much for his years of service and wish him well in his future endeavors. I think next is Chief's report.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, and just to follow up on that, on behalf of all of our members of the police department, we'd like to extend our congratulations to Val on his retirement, even though it was too soon. His injury from the incident from last year forced him to leave. He was not only a very good police officer, but he was an excellent SWAT operator, a very valuable member of that SWAT team, and not only that, but he was a union president for a number of years, and he was, when it comes to management and labor, Val was always somebody that you could sit and iron out things, and he was, at the same time, he maintained his position as being a excellent advocate for labor. So you know, we'll miss him as far as that goes, but we wish him the best. And you know, knowing the way he is, he's a very tenacious individual. He's going to land on his feet, and he'll be fine. Moving into our budget it continues to stay within our expectations. We have
completing month number 11 in our fiscal year, so we only have one more month to go, and I expect that we'll be right on top, right on budget. If we struggle at all, and I don't think we will, it might be just because of some of the personnel line. There were some contracts, 2 contracts in particular that were settled, and there wasn't any type of a line adjustment that was done. So that, I believe, will be done at the end by the Board of Finance. So I'm confident we're going to be right there.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
The doctor's fees line, why is the expense so high on that?
Yeah, I think we talked about that maybe 2 months ago, and that was with all of the hiring that we had to do. We have replaced roughly 4 people this past year. So those individuals have to go for the polygraph, they have to go for a psychological.
I kind of assumed, but
Right.
okay. All
So that's why that's really blown up a bit. But we'll cover any overages in another line item. So we should be pretty good with that.
Thank you.
As far as the uniform services, ISU, I put them together. We did have an overdose. Actually, we had 2 this past month. It was the same person. The first time there was a Narcan save. The second time, unfortunately, the person expired. So we lost somebody this past month. Our commercial burglaries are, I shouldn't say anything because they're almost like non-existent. I'm just, they're good. They're almost too good. Same thing with the commercial burglaries, way down, which I think is a good thing. I think we only had 2 attempted residential breaks in the last month, and those attempts, they weren't even completed. So that's a good thing. Our support services and traffic, without going into any deep detail, our investigation into the pedestrian fatality on Ridge Road from March 11th, that investigation continues, and we feel confident that we would have more to report probably by the end of this week. And speaking of traffic accidents and traffic in particular, I did have a conversation with one of our, more of an email exchange with one of our residents, a fellow that follows us on a regular basis, Mr. George from the Whitney Ridge area. And, he was watching our meeting, and he asked if perhaps we could throw something out there for some of our seniors that are driving, and as far as just to make them aware that there is a driver retraining that's offered through different insurance companies and AAA and such, and not only is it a benefit sometimes to the insurance premium, but it sometimes reminds folks of the new laws, the new driving laws, as well as just a reminder of some of the regular traffic laws. So I told him I would put that out there. There is something that I did not put in your packet because it's somewhat of a ground ball, but it's a request on behalf of us, our police department, our traffic division, for a stop sign. This would be at the Amazon Access Road up in the Wharton Brook Industrial Park. All right, so it's a roadway that is not going to be used every day. They're going to use primarily the main driveway off of Washington Avenue at 415 Washington Avenue to get in and out of the old Pratt Whitney aircraft, which is now Amazon. But there is a back gate, and there is going to be some truck traffic and some employee traffic that's going to exit there. And there is not a stop sign on that access road. That access road goes out to Defco Park Road, and as much as the road is marked with a stop bar and it says stop. There's been times when people just come out and they just roll through it. What we'd like to do is put a stop sign there, just to make sure that the other users of Defco Park Road, we prevent an accident from happening. I mean, it's not really a study that needs to be done, or really even a case incident report. It's almost a no-brainer to put a stop sign there.
So the stop sign would be at the intersection, but it would control the stoppage on the road to Defco Park Road?
Correct.
Okay.
Right. So I mean, if that's something that the commission would act on, or if you like, I temporarily put a portable stop sign there. That's because when they were doing their paving going into the plant from onto Washington Avenue, they didn't want a lot of traffic on there. There was a lot of heavy traffic coming in and out of the access road. And just to prevent an accident, I took a temporary stop sign and put it there. If you like, we can temporarily keep it there a little bit longer if you want to think this over, or you can act on it tonight.
No, we can do that now, I think.
Makes sense.
What do you think?
Yeah, I think if the commission is comfortable.
Yeah.
So,
I'll make the motion, we put the stop sign at the aforementioned intersection.
There you go. Perfect.
Second that.
any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
And something to plant, just to kind of plant the seed for maybe next month. It's nothing we need to act on for tonight. We have a house that is regularly being rented by Quinnipiac University students up on Kings Highway. The past couple of years, we've had a couple of parties up there, parties in the beginning of the season, parties at the end of the season, and I want the traffic sergeant to prepare something for you for next month to perhaps post some type of no parking in the vicinity of this house. It gives us a little bite if we go up there for any type of complaints. There was something up there probably 3 weekends ago, maybe towards the end of the college school year, and if there was a need for a piece of fire apparatus, you wouldn't have been able to get up there. Kings Highway was pretty much shut down for a good stretch, and we need to control that. And I think that the best way to do it is to put those signs there that say you can't park here corner to corner. Now, corner to corner means that the next corner down is probably a half a mile away, but we go up there, we have complaints, we'll just start tagging and towing cars.
Does that, I can't picture the area or the street, but does that present a problem for any other residents?
No, I don't think it would.
Okay.
And that was the other reason why I want to reach out. I want the traffic sergeant to reach out to these other folks.
Yeah, I think that makes
and
sense.
let them know that this was our game plan, and to see if they had any pushback, or whether they were in agreement with it. I think most of them would be in agreement with it.
What's the number on Kings Highway?
And I don't have it. I had it on another piece of paper earlier, but it's up near Highland Park.
Highland Park, yeah, that area.
Up that
I
way.
understand it was quite a scene up there.
Yeah, and it's not the first time.
Yeah.
And in fairness to everybody else that lives up there, we have to do something. We have to take some type of
Absolutely. For
an
safety
affirmative
reasons alone.
step, especially for any type of emergency access. And I think that's probably the best start. May not be the end solution, but it's at least a start. So that'll be coming next week, or next month.
Is there any reason at all to give a heads up to anybody at Quinnipiac before students start complaining?
No, I think
No?
it becomes more of, it's off-campus housing.
Yeah, I know
Um,
there's just such a bad relationship in Hamden, and I
Yeah.
want
Actually,
to make sure that
right.
we have that we
Oh,
maintain
yeah.
a great relationship.
Yeah, we do have a very, very, you're absolutely right, we have a very good relationship with them. And that, I think what we'll do is we'll let the neighbors know first. And then if push comes to shove, we can let our security people up there know.
Yeah.
But
I've heard also. I've
yeah,
heard
in all likeliness, these aren't your students from North Haven.
Yeah,
These are
yeah.
students, the younger kids, the undergraduates. So we just need to put some controls in place. The other signage issue is something that is in your packet, and that is a request, and it was made on behalf of Medtronics. They're concerned about some of their employees and the pedestrian crossing that they have down there at their facility on McDermott Road. And that is people that are crossing in between the parking garage and the facility itself. And they're concerned about people that are parking along what would be probably the north side of the street. And they have asked us if we would consider no parking signs on that side of the roadway. Since they do have a parking facility there, and they do have a crosswalk that's there that's controlled with a light. I think if I would concur with the sergeant when we were talking, it's probably the right thing to do.
I don't see any reason not to do it. I was out there earlier today, and it's really, it's very much their space with the offices across the street and the parking garage on the other side. It doesn't seem like that would have an impact on anyone else.
Correct. Right.
I would agree 100%.
Yeah, I'm just drawing a blank. Where is this?
You have to go around the back.
U.S. Surgical.
McDermott's, yeah, so you have to go down Quinnipiac and then you make a right on McDermott. And
Gotcha.
it winds around, it's the old
It's all the
US
way in the
Surgical.
Exactly,
back.
yeah.
Got
And
it.
it's right after a curve too,
Yeah,
so it
it's
could be
right
really
after the curve.
dangerous.
Yeah.
So we need to make a
Yes.
motion to do that.
May I have a motion to erect the signage as requested?
I'd make that motion that we erect the signs as indicated.
I'll second since somebody else.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and as far as our conversation from last month, relative to Ridge Road and the traffic calming, and then it spilled over to townwide traffic calming. I talked to a couple of traffic engineering companies. I was in touch with VN Engineering in North Haven. I was in touch with Fitzgerald and Halliday, which is up in Hartford. There was also a third company that had submitted a quote. And, my thought is that this is going to be something that's going to be very, very expensive at this point to do a townwide calming. My thoughts to the commission would be that after listening to some of the folks that were here and what we've been doing and what we're looking to procure right now, is that we would consider painting a white road shoulder type line on Ridge Road between Dixwell and Skiff Street. This is something we've done before on another roadway. It's something that one of the residents came up to the microphone. That what we do is you put the roadway will remain like 12 feet in either direction, and then anything beyond that would be a shoulder, and it's going to taper the road, give that visual or optical that you have to stay within your lane, and hopefully it slows traffic down. And I think that's one thing that we should consider. I think the second thing is that we purchased the 4 portable electric speed signs. I did get the approval from the selectman's office that we should go out there and get them. I've received a quote on that already. It's just a matter of purchasing them. And what you'll find is, and I think I gave everyone a copy of what we have done in the past month or month and a half up on Ridge Road with the different traffic studies that we've done, is, these electronic speed signs that we have, they collect all this data, and then it will, it'll give you a report, and it'll tell you what the number of days are. It'll tell you what the average speed is, what the 50th percentile of the cars are going, what the 85th percentile of the cars, what the speed is. And just as important to that is this little diagram here with the blue in it. And I think this is kind of a telltale with these signs. This blue cylinder here, that light blue, that demonstrates the effectiveness of the sign itself, the blinking sign. This, when it's blue, when it gets light blue like this, that means people are slowing down. So they see it and they're doing something. All right, they're slowing down. So what's kind of interesting is you'll see that the powder blue gets up, or the light blue, it increases the longer it's there. Well, in the beginning anyway, the effectiveness of the sign does work, and it collects the data, and you work with the tapered roadway, the added signage with these electronic signs, and we can move them. They don't have to stay in front of any one person's house forever. And when we want to take a break from that street, we want to move them over to Hartford Turnpike, you can move them over to Hartford Turnpike. You can move them down to Spring Road. You can put them over on Sackett Point Road. You can put them on Blakesley Avenue. You can take our collector roadways, and basically we would be doing the same thing at little or no cost as it's going to cost for us to hire a traffic engineer to come in and do that data collection. What I would say is, give us 90 days. Let's do this. Let's go back out and remeasure and see what our effectiveness is. And then if it doesn't work, then maybe we have to take some different approach. Or maybe to kind of satisfy some of the concerns that some of the residents had. Maybe bring in one of the engineer companies and just have them do a quick review of what we are planning to do over the next 90 days. And, if they can do it for, something that's fairly inexpensive. This is going to be something, if we outsource this, it could be anywhere from $10,000 to $50,000, depending on how deep you want to go.
So didn't we have these units at one point?
We have them, and we put them at different
Right.
places throughout the town
So
at
we're
different
talking
times.
about purchasing 4 more, you mean?
You're right. And these are going to be solar.
Right.
So you're not going to have to take them down, upload the information,
Okay.
recharge the batteries, put them back out. These things can basically stay there for a month, or they should be able to stay there for a month. So I
So what
think
do
that,
you have 2 currently?
yeah, we have two.
Electric though? Oh.
Two of them. We have 2 of them. And what we've been doing in situations like this is we put them opposite one another on the street. So we're collecting traffic information on both sides.
Okay.
Now this is just going to give us a little bit more data, collection, and we could look at these numbers, find out, when's the best time for us to go up there. There's no reason to go up there and do radar at 10 o'clock in the morning when the big traffic and the high flyers are at 7 o'clock or 8:30 in the morning, or at 5 o'clock or 5:30 at night.
Are these pieces of equipment, are they available for lease also, or just purchase?
These you would have to buy. Yeah, you would have to buy these. And you're going to get your you're gonna get your money's worth out of these. That's the way you should go.
What is it? It collects data?
Right.
And does it say your speed is this? Is that?
What it does
everything the
is,
same thing?
when you're approaching it, it's
Yeah.
gonna flash what your speed is.
Okay.
All right, and it's gonna count your car. It's gonna count all the vehicles that go by, and then what it's gonna do is it's gonna register what your speed was, what day of the week it is, what time of the day it is, and at the end, it's gonna calibrate or quantify everything as far as, who's in that group. How many people are over the limit? How many people are under the limit? And then there's usually, even if you're over the limit, you're usually within an acceptable range. And that acceptable range is usually that 85th percentile. That's where 85% of the people are traveling.
Would it be correct to say then that it, number one, displays to the driver, but number two, it collects the data, that how it affects the driver, and it also has a control by knowing when it's not flashing, how it's not as effective as when it is flashing, which is the light blue
Right.
on your pie
Right,
chart.
correct.
So it seems pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, Hamden has 2 of the monitors
Yeah.
deployed south of the intersection of
Yeah.
Skiff, heading south. One by the traffic islands that they put in the middle of the road, and one further to the north of that. And they've been up for quite a while.
The
Right.
thing that's nice is it tells you the outcome, so you don't have to guess the outcome.
Right.
Right.
You know, whether or not it's going to be effective. So if you presume less speed is less danger.
I think based on what you handed out, that the data is valuable. I mean, that was a valuable exercise, and I think it's a wise move to purchase 4 additional
Yeah,
monitors.
so we're gonna move forward with that, but then again, I think if we just can, maintain the enforcement that we've had up there, maintain the enforcement we have up there, move the signs around a little bit, so everybody doesn't get, so it doesn't get stagnant. At the same time, once we have these machines or these electronic speed signs, we can deploy them in other places as well. This isn't just a Ridge Road issue. It's not just a North Haven issue.
And then
Get on the highway, people are driving like animals.
will we also be talking about the white lines?
Yes.
Because what I'm thinking is a little hyper-statistical as I can be, I guess. But if the white lines went up after the signs were already up, it might also measure the effectiveness of the white lines.
Yeah. So I think in order to stripe the road, we probably gonna need some type of authorization from
signs
the
already.
commission.
Yeah, and it's my understanding that part of that, or all of that stretch, is scheduled to be repaved. Would the striping, if we authorized it, have to wait until it's repaved? Would we do it twice?
The cost of paint, of the single white line is really insignificant.
Okay.
It's probably $400 to do both sides now, and if they go and middle the road and pave it, which it's scheduled to be redone, probably the end of summer, beginning of fall, to come back at the end and just do it for $400 for,
And if the data's collected before the lines are painted.
Yeah, and we already have that.
before and after the
Yeah, that
lines,
makes
I
sense.
love that idea.
see how it shakes out, for that.
And obviously, I don't think we would do this
Say, well, you know what the lines are.
if we put the white lines in now, and then put them in again after it was milled and repaved. Would we want to consider any type of sort of rumble strip along that white line? So if somebody was veering, into the
We probably could. That could be something that for a discussion, I think it probably wouldn't hurt to do it. And you probably could get the cost incurred with the
With the paving.
with
I
the
would
pavement.
think that would be a
Right.
pretty reasonable add-on.
Right.
I support the stripage on the road, and if others would, I entertain a motion to approve that.
I support it as well.
Yeah, I'm going to make a motion I'll make a motion to buy 4 solar speed signs that collect the data, as well as to paint the white lines on either side of the road, limiting the 12 feet.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I do like Commissioner Mead's suggestion of trying to collect some additional data before the stripage goes down.
Sure.
However, I wouldn't want to delay that, too long.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think
Yeah.
from an analytical standpoint, that would
Yeah.
be useful to do it in
The
that
stripes
sequence.
probably do 2 things. One is, by collecting the data before and after the stripes, you look at any change in speed behavior, but it probably won't tell you, unfortunately, but it might be an interesting device to develop. You need a laser to tell you if people are driving in a more controlled manner because of the stripes, because those are the 2 dangerous. And that would be very interesting too, but that's of course a little academic.
And then maybe we could visit the issue of some type of rumble
Yeah, we can visit
Yeah,
that, I
strip
think.
superimposed
Yep.
under the white line
Yeah, we'd
at
have
the
to see what they're
appropriate
gonna
time.
actually charge us. I know if we were gonna do it now, if say, for instance, the road wasn't gonna be done, I think it would have been somewhere close to $8,000 to do both sides.
Mhm.
So maybe we can just wait on that until the road gets done, and then you pay that one once. But $400 is not the, throwing around money, but $400 isn't a lot of money these days to take care of what, 1.5 miles of road both ways. That's a pretty good price.
So the rumble isn't part of the paving process? They would,
Well, you can ask them to do it.
because it might be less expensive.
Oh, I suspect it would be.
Yeah.
And when would you collect the data? After 90 days, you said, Chief? Or,
Well, no, I
or you
think,
can
I
do it
think what
anytime,
we've done
right?
is, we've collected some stuff already.
Yeah.
But as the commissioners have mentioned, it'd be,
Before and after. would be perfect.
maybe grab a little bit more before any white lines go in. But at the same time, we just need to increase the enforcement effort. Then you disappear for a couple weeks, and then go back up there and see what, whether there's any change in the driveway behavior,
That'll be interesting to see.
But
Plus some hard data. Thank you.
And then, as far as our records and professional standards, we have Officer Burke. He's completed his 7th week. He's into his 8th week of field training, so he's only got a couple more weeks, and he should be on his own. Officer Stevens, believe it or not, he graduates from the Satellite Academy down at Milford PD on July 10th, so that's right around the corner. And Officer Mateo is in his 8th week, so he's 1/3 of the way through. And they were all here for the parade on Saturday, and they all look well, and they're all performing well. As far as our radio and building schedule, our construction of the new building continues to move forward. It looks like probably the July 4th timeframe, that's fair to say. We're going to be moving in little by little. That building should be fully operational by the 3rd week of July. And again, that's right around the corner as well. Paving should be started, I think this maybe Thursday or Friday, but probably likely Friday. So we should have some asphalt down. So it's really
Looks great.
inside. The inside is very nice, and like I said, it's not something that's over the top. It's very practical. It's something that it's going to get many years of use, and we're still under budget. So that's a good thing.
It's incredible they were able to repurpose that old building the way they did.
Yeah, it's and they did a nice job in really capitalizing and on the space that was not properly used down in the basement is now it's everything is it's been repurposed, like you said, it's great.
And I gotta say that that antenna is not as bad as we thought kind of initially, because it is kind of high.
Yeah, it's,
I went to a couple of towns just over the weekend, and smaller towns than this, and they had things that were twice as high, and 2 or 3 of them right next to the PD. So
no, it's,
it's not that big of a deal of Mysore.
and then for the Walter T. Beneri Scholarship, I do have one request from Sergeant Cliff Hill for consideration this month. He has 2 classes, 2 graduate degree classes, and he was looking for some consideration for a scholarship on that.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
And then the remaining issues or things I have would be for executive session as it relates to personnel matters.
Anything from the commission? Nope. Hearing nothing, may I have a motion to move back into executive session?
So moved.
Second?
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
So we're back into regular session at 8:10. Having been in executive session earlier this evening to interview candidates for potential position as a North Haven police officer, may I have a motion to
Yes,
make a conditional offer of
Right.
employment?
I'd like to make a motion for conditional offer of employment to Marlene Carter, also referred to as Marv.
I'll second it.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion, should Marv not be able to take the position that we offered to Eric Cornelius, I remember his middle name, but I'm sorry.
Lawrence, I believe.
Yeah, Lawrence, that we make an offer to him in the case that she cannot take it.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, and you want the condition to read as it does normally as far as the polygraph, psychological background?
Yes,
Correct.
yes.
Okay, okay,
Yep.
perfect.
We should also make note that we're going into summertime, and you usually give a little speech about children at play and this and that and speeding and...
Nobody listens to me.
Okay, well, I'll make that motion. Be careful, there are a lot of kids out there, okay? It's summertime.
We can cover that at the June meeting when they're out of school. All right, may I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The preceding program is brought to you in part through a grant from the town of North Haven. Watch town meetings or other videos on demand at nhtv.com.